Assalomu alaykum. Bugun Thompson Schoolda IELTS guruhida o'quvchilar bilan birgalikda reading qismida matnlarni qanaqa qilib lug'at yordamisiz tarjima qilishni va yuqori ballga ega bo'lishni o'rganib chiqdik. Va bugun o'quvchilar bilan birgalikda reading matnlarni qanaqa qilib tez tarjima qilish usullarini o'rganib chiqib, uni amaliyotda qo'llab ko'rdik. Yana xuddi shunday master klasslarga qatnashmoqchi bo'lsangiz, siz ham safimizga qo'shiling va yakshanba kunlaringizni maroqli o'tkazing. Boshlashdan oldin yana bitta narsani aytmoqchi edim. Любой 8 dan baland olgan odamni topinglar Readingdan. Любой yoki mayli 7,5 bo'lsin. 7,5, 8, 8,5, 9 Readingdan olgan bo'lsin. O'shaylar o'zlaringiz xohlagan любой bitta practice olinglar. Bilmaydigan so'zlaringni menga highlight qilib berdinglar. Kamida 20 ta so'z chiqadi. Kamida 20 ta so'z chiqadi. Why? Because all reading passages that are created by Cambridge are topic based, right? So you know it. Different passages come from different spheres, different like walks of life, right? For example, there can be a passage about medicine in the first passage, and the next one can be about technology. The third one can be about psychology or education. That's the most difficult to understand, right? So in all of these topics, you're given some technical terms that you have never faced in your life. So they're passive vocabulary, they're passive academic vocabulary. That's natural not to understand them, all right? Even those people who have 9 from reading, they don't understand it. They cannot translate all the words, but somehow they are finding 40 out of 40, right? But somehow they are finding 39 out of 40. So today we are going to know this secret, okay? Mana o'zim ham practice qilganimda, mana o'zimni o'quvchilarim bilishadi. Men ham hamma so'zni bilmayman, to'g'rimi? Ba'zi dars vaqtida so'rab qolishadi. Qanaqadir masalan dissolved saltpeter, I don't know how it's like even pronounced. I don't know this expression. Dars vaqtida so'rab qolishadi. Men shuna degan deyishadi. Ko'p bunaqa vaziyatlar bo'lgan, bilmayman deyman, to'g'rimi? Men ham bilmayman buni. Lekin men o'ylayman, что men shundan 9 olib berib bilaman sizlarga. Yoki sizlar любой menga beradigan practicedan kamida 8,5 yoki 9 ni ishlab berishim mumkin. No, men ham shunaqa highlight qilib chiqadigan bo'lsam, meni bilmaydigan so'zlarim ham kamida 20 ta chiqadi uchta passagedan. Why? Because they are topic based, academic, technical terms, all right? Termni bilishga hech kim majbur emas IELTSda. Shuning uchun ham IELTS hech qachon sizlardan definition so'ramaydi yoki translation so'ramaydi. All right? Now, hozir exercise typelarini ko'rmaymiz. Exercise qilmaymiz birorta. Okay? Shunchaki tekstni tushunishga harakat qilib ko'ramiz. Keling, men birinchi paragrafdan boshlaymiz. History of refrigeration. Bu hozir katta ehtimollik bilan technical termlar juda ham ko'p bo'lgan passage bo'lsa kerak, to'g'rimi? Men o'zim ham buni to'liq o'qimaganman. O'zim ham juda ham tanish emasman bu bilan. Technical term bo'lishi kerak menimcha, chunki bu muzlatgichni tarixi deb boshlangan. Значит, muzlatgichda bo'ladigan qanaqadir qismlari, uni qanaqadir ishlash sistemasi, sxemalari haqida gap ketishi tayin gap menimcha. Ko'ramiz endi. Birinchi oldin kelinglar bilmaydigan so'zlarimizni highlight qilib chiqamiz. Okay? Refrigeration is a process of removing heat. I think all of you know this word, right? Which means cooling an area or a substance. Let's say substance is a new word for us. For intermediate level students, right? For intermediate level students. Substance below the environmental temperature. Mechanical refrigeration makes use of the evaporation that's there, right? Evaporation of a liquid. I think you know the liquid, right? What's liquid? Жидкость, сухлик. Refrigerant, which goes through a cycle so that it can be reused. The main cycles include vapor compression. Wow. That's a fancy word. Absorption, steam jet. Another fancy word, steam ejector, super fancy word, and airing. I think you know what's airing, right? The term refrigerator was first introduced by a Maryland farmer, Thomas Moore, in 1803, but it's in the 20th century that the appliance we know today first appeared. Apply. You know what's apply, right? What is that? Topshirish, ishlatish, appliance, o'sha ishlatiladigan narsa. Home appliances nima degani shunda? Shunaqa term bor. IELTSda ko'p ishlatiladi. Home appliances. Uy jihozlari degan. Bitta texnika degan qisqasi. All right. Endi qaranglar. Keling endi gapni tarjima qilib ko'ramiz. All right. Bilmaydigan so'zlarimizni highlight qilib oldik. Refrigeration is a process of removing heat, which means cooling an area or substance below the environmental temperature. Refrigeration, yani muzlatish, sovutish, mana buni funksiyasi. Is a process of removing heat. Issiqlikni chiqarib yuborish protsessi, jarayoni. Qaysiki, which means cooling an area, qanaqadir bitta hududni sovutish yoki a substance'ni sovutish. Substance nimaligini bilmagan taqdirimda ham hozir endi qanaqa menda miyada proses ketish kerak. Substance tarjimasini bilmayman, dictionary'm yo'q oldimda, men real examda turibman. Endi nima qilaman? Sovutsa bo'ladigan, xolodilnikning ichida bo'ladigan, xolodilnik ichida turadigan, xolodilnik sovutadigan bitta noun. Keling endi uni biz substance deb qabul qilamiz. Okay? Substance biz o'zbek tilida substance deb ketaveramiz. Ya'ni refrigeration qanaqadir bitta hududni yoki substance'ni sovutish protsessi ekan. Below the environmental temperature. Ya'ni o'zi masalan komnatning temperaturadan pastroqqa sovutar ekan. Okay? Substance demak nounligi aniq, right? Noun ekan bu. Qanaqadir sovutiradigan narsa, xolodilnikda sovutiradigan narsa qisqasi. Hech kim sizlarni to'xtatib IELTSda menga substance'ning tarjimasini ayt deb qolmaydi. All right? Like bundan xavotir olmanglar. Mechanical refrigeration makes use of the evaporation of a liquid refrigerant. I think all of you know what does makes use mean, right? What does it mean? Ishlatadi. To'g'rimi? Now, I don't know what's evaporation. Mexanik sovutish suyuq refrigerant degan narsani evaporate qilar ekan. Ya'ni buni verbligi tushunildi. Refrigerant suyuq soviydigan nounligi tushunildi. To'g'ri? Which goes through a cycle so that it can be reused. Bitta sikldan o'tar ekan va yana qayta ishlatilar ekan, to'g'rimi? Nima? Nima? Qaysi suyuqlik? Refrigerant. Endi qaranglar. Kimdir o'zbek tilida sizlarga qanaqadir o'sha xolodilniklarni tuzatadigan usta refrigerant deb qolsa, sizlarda o'sha bugundan boshlab bitta понятие berish kerak, to'g'rimi? Ya'ni refrigerant nima deb so'rab qolsa o'sha. Nima deysizlar? Qanaqadir suyuqlik xolodilnik ichida bo'lar ekan, aylanar ekan, to'g'rimi? Sikldan o'tar ekan, yana qaytib ishlatsa bo'lar ekan. Uni refrigerantni aniq tarjimasini bilish shart emas. Uni nimaligini bilsak bo'ldi. Nimaligini IELTS hammasini sizlarga tushuntirib beradi. Cambridge'ni practice kitoblarida, boshqa kitoblarni gapirmayapman, faqatgina Cambridge'ni practice kitoblarida tushunilmagan termni o'zi keyingi gapda yoki keyingi paragrafda o'zi tushuntirib beriladi. 100% shu holat bor. Yoki qanaqadir qiyin gapni berdi. Tushunishga qiyin gap bo'ldimi? Keyingi gapda скорее всего shuni tarjimasi emas, define qilib beriladi o'sha gap. Okay? O'sha gap tushuntirib beriladi. Qisqasi, refrigerant nimaligini bilmasa, ekzaminda qotib qarab turish kerak emas bunga. Ichidan barcha chiqib qolmaydi tarjimasi. Undan keyinini o'qisa, refrigerant haqida sizlarga informatsiya beriladi. Ya'ni, refrigerantning tarjimasi nimaligini bilmagan holda ham refrigerant o'zi nima ekanligini tushuna olasizlar. Refrigerant deb qabul qilib ketaverasizlar. Xuddi masalan, substance o'z tarjimasini bilmasak ham, bu prosta soviydigan narsaligini bilding-a? Xolodilnikda turadigan soviydigan narsa. Asl ma'nosi endi uni predmetlar, moddalar degani substance'ni. Okay? Masalan, oddiy, masalan, sut deylik, sut ham substance'ga kiradi. All right? Значит, refrigerant sovutish siklida bo'ladigan, qayta ishlatiladigan suyuq bo'lgan bitta narsa ekan. That's it. The main cycles include vapor compression, absorption, steam jet or steam ejector and airing. Birortasini bilmaymiz, chunki ular hammasi technical term. Lekin bular o'zi nima bular? Steplari, to'g'rimi? Refrigeration steplari ekanligini bilamiz. Tarjimasini bilishimiz shart emas. Alright? Kimdir sizlardan o'zbek tilidan ham so'rab qolsa, o'zi xolodilnik ishlash qanaqa ishlashini bilasanmi deb so'rasa, ha deysizlar. Refrigerant degan suyuq narsasi bo'ladi ichida. Aylanadi-yu, sikldan o'tib qayta ishlatuvriladi o'sha narsa. Unda bir nechta steplar bilan ishlaydi deb bemalol aqlli qo'rsanglar bo'ladi. Nima qanaqa steplar esa ayturasizlar, masalan, vapor compression, absorption steam jet, steam ejector, airing degan steplar bor deysizlar bemalol. Alright? Buni nimaligini bilish shart emas. Okay? IELTS ham to'xtatib, true false not given javobini men bu so'zning tarjimasini biladiganga ulab qo'ymaydi IELTS hech qachon. Alright? IELTS o'zi Cambridge formatda true false not givenlarni masalan yoki sentence completionlarni tarjimaga ulab qo'ymaydi javobni topishni. Okay? Tarjima qilmasdan ham topsa bo'ladigan joyga yashirib qo'yadi. Chunki u o'zi intermediate uchun yaratilgan test. Okay? Strong intermediate to'qqiz bo'ladigan qilib yaratilgan test. The term refrigerator was first introduced by Maryland farmer Thomas Moore in 1803, but it's in the 20th century that the appliance we know today first appeared. Understood, right? First it was invented by this farmer, and then the modern form that we use today in our homes was just appeared in the 20th century. Okay? Can we move to the next paragraph? Yes? Was it useful? Yeah. So let's move. People used to find various ways to preserve. Let's say we don't know what's the word preserve. Their food before the advent of mechanical refrigeration. Advent. Some preferred using cooling systems of ice or so, which meant that diets would have, let's say we don't know diets also, would have consist of very little fresh food or fruits or vegetables, but mostly of bread, cheese, and salted meals. For milk and cheese, it was very difficult to keep them fresh, so such foods were usually stored in a cellar or window box. In spite of those measures, they could not survive rapid spoilage. Later on, people discovered that adding such chemical as sodium nitrate, chemical term, right? Or potassium nitrate, that's also a chemical term, to water could lead to a lower temperature. In 1550, when this technique was first recorded, people used it to cool wine as well as was the term to refrigerate. Cooling drinks grew very popular in Europe by 1600, particularly in Spain, France, and Italy. Instead of cooling water at night, people used a new technique, rotating long-necked. And I think you all know what's rotate, right? I think that's a pre-intermediate level word. Which held dissolved saltpeter. So the solution was intended to create very low temperatures and even to make ice. By the end of the 17th century, ice drink, including frozen juice and liqueurs tad, become extremely fashionable in France. So, bitta paragrafning o'zida 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ta biza bilmagan so'z chiqdi. To'g'rimi? Qolgan hammasi intermediate o'quvchi bilish kerak bo'lgan so'zlar. Oddiy so'zlar qolgan hammasi. Endi kelinglar o'qib tarjima qilamiz. Odamlar boshqa oldin bitta real life example ni bering. Tasavvur qilib ko'ringlar. Sizlar kimdir rus tilida, kimdir o'zbek tilida kitob o'qimoqchi. O'zi qiziqqan kitobni. Kitobda qanaqadir 10 ta so'z xuddi mana shunaqa oralig'ida 10 ta so'z bulg'ab qo'yilgan. Ya'ni ko'rinmayapti, so'zni o'qib bo'lmayapti. O'sha so'zni o'zbek tilida yoki rus tilida tarjimasini primerni qanaqa tarjima borligini chiqarib berib bilasizlarmi? Kontekstga qarab bilasizlarmi? Demak, sizlarda ham reading skills уже bor. Reading skills уже rivojlangan, ya'ni hozir bizning endi oldimizda turgan vazifa o'sha reading skillsni IELTS ga ham bitta tushirib olsak bo'ldi уже. Okay? Hammasi zo'r bo'ladi. People used to find various ways to preserve their food. Odamlar o'zini ovqatini nimadir qilishni turli usullarini topishgan. Before the advent of mechanical refrigeration, mexanik sovutish nimadir bo'lishidan oldin. To'g'rimi? Ya'ni o'sha o'zbek tilidagi men tekstni o'qiyapman-ku, qanaqadir so'zlari bo'g'ab qo'yilgan. Refrigeration systems. Endi kerakli qo'shib bitta o'qib ko'ramiz-ku, nima yetishmayotganligini o'zi primerni topib olamiz. Tekst so'zi nima haqida edi? Xolodilniklar и refrigeration systemlar, sovutish haqida edi, to'g'rimi? Xo'p, endi qaranglar. Odamlar o'zini ovqatini nima qilish? Saqlashni bir necha yo'llardan topishgan. Mexanik sovutish tizimlari paydo bo'lishidan oldin. Preserve degani save ni sinonimi. Advent degani invention ni sinonimi. Discovery ni sinonimi. All right? Some prefer let's say we don't know this word also. Ba'zi insonlar muz yoki qor bilan sovutish usulini ishlatishni tanlashgan, yaxshi ko'rishgan, ishlatishgan, afzal ko'rishgan, alright? Xohlagan verbni ishlatinglar, baribir general meaning o'sha chiqaveradi. Ya'ni qanaqasiga, qanaqa shunga o'xshash, shunga mos so'zni tanlasanglar ham baribir IELTS o'sha to'g'ri chiqadi. Chunki kontekst shuni o'zi chiqaryapti-da. Kontekstni ishi bu o'sha. Which meant that diets would have consisted of very little fresh food or fruits and vegetables. Ya'ni ularning nimasidir Z'dan keyin o'zi noun kelishi bilinib turibdi, tem bo'lib s qo'shilgan, to'g'rimi? Ularning nimasidir? Faqatgina ozgina svejiy produktlar yoki mevalar va sabzavotlardan tashkil topgan. Mana bular nima bulardan tashkil topadi? Nima? Sabzavot, mevalardan, ovqat, oziq-ovqat, har kunlik iste'mol qiladigan narsalar, to'g'rimi? Dietni o'zi asl tarjimasi ikkita ma'nosi bor. Bittasi parhez, yana bittasi daily intake of food or beverages degani. Daily intake of food and beverages, all right? Har kunlik ichimlik va oziq-ovqat iste'moli degan ma'noni beradi diet. O'zi o'zbek tilida даже vocab, dictionary ishlatgan taqdirda ham men buni aniq tarjimasini topa olmaysizlar. Chunki qaranglar, ikkita ma'nosi bor. Birinchi ma'nosi parhez deb chiqadi. Ularning parhezi faqatgina juda ham kam meva va sabzavotni tashkil topgan degan o'z ma'no bermaydi, to'g'rimi? Lekin kontekst bilan dictionary ishlatmasdan topganlik sizlarga aniqroq ma'no beradi, nagorat. All right? Chunki faqatgina o'zi bir dona ham bor, o'zi bizning tilimizda qaysiki meva va sabzavotlardan tashkil topish mumkin. All right? But mostly of bread, cheese and salted meals. Bulardan kamroq tashkil topgan-u, ko'pincha nimadan tashkil topgan ekan? For milk and cheeses, it was cheese countable and uncountable. Uncountable. Nimaga yes qo'shdi? Xato qildimmi o'sha o'z Cambridge?
Milk and cheese.
No. Sanamasdi-ku, nimaga es qo'shib qo'ydi bu? So here, just let me give a short tip, all right? That's off topic, but I decided to tell you the secret of this. Yes, shunaqa. Uncountable nounlarga ham qo'shilishi mumkin as types of degan ma'no beradi, all right? Cheeses degani bir necha turdagi pishloqlar degan ma'no beradi. For milk and cheeses, it was very difficult to keep them fresh, all right? So such foods were usually stored in a cellar or window box. Window boxni tarjimasi o'zi yo'q. To'g'rimi? Tarjimasi yo'q. Kimdir Podokонник deb tushunish mumkin. Mayli, shunaqa deb tushunaveringlar. Endi qaranglar nima degan. Ularni mana sut bilan pishloqlarni sveji saqlab turish qiyin bo'lgan, to'g'rimi? Shu uchun ular uni yo window boxda saqlashgan yoki cellar degan joyda saqlashgan ekan. Ya'ni hozir bu yo'ldan men tushunib olsam, bu podokонникka o'xshagan so'z. Podokонникka o'xshagan noun u yoqda sut va cheese saqlangan. O'sha narsa xolodilnik bo'lishdan oldin food saqlanadigan joy hisoblanadi. Значит, cellar bu uyda bo'lishi mumkin qanaqadir joy. O'sha yoqda milk, cheese saqlangan. Bo'ldi. Tarjimasini bilishimiz shart emas. Okay? O'zi practice qilayotganda ham, uyda practice qilganda ham dictionary ishlatishdan ko'ra men bu usul tezroq bo'ladi. Tezroq tugatib qo'yasiz, anaqa kontekstdan chiqarish bilan. Okay? Kimgadir boshda qiyinlik tug'ilib qolsa, uni ham yo'li bor. Bitta varaqni olasizlar. Gapni o'zbekchadami, ruschadami tarjimasini yozasizlar-yu, faqatgina o'sha bilmagan joylaringizga 3 ta nuqtani qo'yib ketasizlar. O'z bittada keyin chiqadi. Kimgadir hozir mana bunaqa qilish qiyin bo'layotgan bo'lsa, yozib qilgan yanada osonroq proses. Okay? Keyinchalik o'sha bu prosesga o'tib olsa bo'ladi. In spite of. Несмотря на то, deydi. Mayli endi shuni ham bilaveraylik deylik. Shuni ham bilamiz. Bu usullar they couldn't survive rapid spoilage. Couldn't survive yashab qolmoq. Dictionaryda yashab qolmoq chiqadi, lekin qaranglar. Hozir yashab qolmoq mana bu yerda ishlatsam, tarjima chiqara olmay qolaman. Lekin kontekstga tayansam, bittada chiqadi. Rapid degan tez, to'g'rimi? Spoilage'ni bilmayman. Hozircha in spite of'ni ochaylik bitta. In spite of degani несмотря на то degani, to'g'rimi? Ga qaramasdan, garchan. Bu qilingan usullarga qaramasdan oziq-ovqatlar milk and cheese couldn't survive tezda nimadir bo'lib qolishidan yashab qolmagan. Qutulib qolmagan degan ma'noni beradi, ya'ni bu holatda survive, right? Qutulib qolmagan degan narsa sizdan dictionaryda chiqmaydi. Google Translate ga yozasizlar, Google Translate da ham yashab qolmoq ma'nosini beradi. Keyin o'ylanib qolasizlar, qanaqa qilib milk and cheese yashab qolishi mumkin? Причем bu yerda survive degan so'z, yashab qolish deb keyin o'zi yanada proses qiynalishib ketaveradi, keyin stressga tushib ketaveradi practice qilayotgan odam. Shuning uchun agar hozir biz kontekstga qaraydigan bo'lsak, shuncha usulni ishlatibdi, sarqirov joyga olib qo'yibdi, to'g'rimi? Cellarda qo'yibdi, window boxda qo'yibdi, hali xolodilnik yo'q. Shu usullarga qaramasdan bu oziq-ovqatlar tezda buzilishdan qutulib qolmagan. Bari tezda buzilib qolgan, achib qolgan. Alright? Spoilage degan o'zi, spoil nima? Ha? Yes, shunaqa. Aynish, buzilish degani. Spoilage o'zi shunaqa, aynib qolish, buzilib qolish. Later on, people discovered that adding such chemical as sodium nitrate or potassium nitrate, even if you don't know how to translate this two chemical expressions to chemical terms, it says that they're just chemicals, right? Ikkita ximikat, sodium nitrate or potassium nitrate degan narsalar suvga qo'shilsa, lower temperature ga olib kelar ekan. Salqinlikni chiqarar ekan. In 1550, when this technique was first recorded, people used it to cool wine, as was the term to refrigerate. Birinchi marta 1550-yilda vinoga nisbatan vinoni sovutishga ishlatishgan ekan u. As was the term to refrigerate. O'sha refrigerate deb atab boshlashgan ekan o'sha paytdan odamlar. Alright? Term, ya'ni termini ishlatib boshlagan. Cooling drinks grew very popular in Europe by 1600s, right? So you all understood it. Particularly in Spain, France, and Italy. Instead of cooling water at night, people used a new technique. Rotating qanaqadir, ya'ni uni sifati berilgan, to'g'rimi? Chunki noun berilgan, noundan oldin o'zi nima ishlatiladi? Adjective ishlatiladi. Yo article, yo adjective ishlatiladi o'zi. Yoki ba'zida pronoun ishlatilishi mumkin. U ham baribir call it anu. Adjective sifatidagi pronounlar bo'ladi. Masalan, that, my, his, her degan ham baribir uni quality'sini ko'rsatadigan, xususiyatini ko'rsatadigan pronoun ham to'g'ri. Qanaqadir bottles of water'ni aylantirishgan. Okay? Which held dissolved saltpeter. Butilkani ichida nima saqlangan? Dissolved saltpeter degan narsa bo'lgan prosta. Alright? Dissolved saltpeter degan narsa bo'lgan butilkani ichida, qanaqadir butilkani ichida, long necked butilkani ichida. Bilamiz ekan nimaligini. O'shani prosta aylantirishgan ekan. Alright? The solution was intended to create very low temperatures and even to make ice. Bu solution was intended. Let's say we don't know what's intended. Buni ham bilmaymiz. Judayam past temperatura yoki va даже muzni yaratish uchun bu usul muzni yoki juda past temperaturani yaratish uchun ishlatilgan, qo'llanilgan, shunga o'xshagan qanaqadir bitta verb. Alright? Aslida o'zi was intended degani niyat qilingan, shu plan qilingan degani, shu maqsadda qilingan degani o'zi aslida. Alright? So, by the end of the 17th century, iced drink including frozen juices and liquor were started. I don't know what is this word, right? And kelyapti-yu, ikkita nounni bog'layapti, to'g'rimi? Adjective plus noun, bu ham adjective plus noun bo'lishi kerak. Скорее всего, yoki просто noun, to'g'rimi? Ikkita nounni bog'lasa and, ikkalovi bir xil turdagi noun bo'ladimi, bir-biriga qarama-qarshi noun bo'ladimi? Bir xil turdagi bo'ladimi? Bo'ldi. 17-asrning oxirlarigacha iced drink including nima degani? Ichiga olgan. Muzlagan ichimliklar o'z ichiga nimalarni olgan? Frozen juice va boshqa noun. Bu qanaqa turdagi noun ekan shunda? Ichimlik ekan. Bo'ldi. Juice ga o'xshagan ichimlik ekan. Sovuq ichimlik ekan. To'g'ri? 17-asrlarda bo'lgan sovuq ichimlik. Bo'ldi. Became extremely fashionable in France. Alright? Practice qilayotganda tepasiga yozib qo'yishni maslahat berardim. Kontekstdan topib oldinglar, ustiga prosta yozib qo'yinglar. Bu cold beverage deb prosta yozib qo'ysanglar, keyin exercise qilayotganda osonroq topiladi. Alright? Endi kelinglar, mana ikkita paragrafni kontekstdan dictionarysiz tarjima qilib oldik. Endi bitta savollarga ham qaraylikchi, qani savolni qilishga kuchimiz yetadimi? Ya'ni shuncha tarjima qilganimiz o'zi effektivmi, yo'qmi? O'zi kerakmi bizga unaqa qilish, yo'qmi? We had year, right? We had 1550. What happened in 1550? What happened in 1550?
First
Nima? Yes. Birinchi marta refrigerate termini kelib chiqdi, sovutish, muzatish termini kelib chiqdi. Qanaqa qiluvdi odamlar o'sha paytda? 1550-yilda hali xolodilnik yo'q edi-ku. Ikkita ximikatni suvga solishuvdi и qanaqadir butilkani aylantirishdi, to'g'rimi? Nima maqsadda? Sovutish uchun yoki даже muz yaratish uchun. Endi o'shani biz sinonimini topishga harakat qilamiz. Qani shu gapni sinonimi bormi? Chunki bilasizlar, exercise'da 100% paraphrase version beriladi, to'g'rimi? Exercise ham so'zlarini kontekstdan topib olsa bo'ladi, bemalol. Alright. Vehicles, mashinalar haqida gap bormi? Bo'ldi, ketdi уже. Ice was sold. Muzni sotilmaganligi haqida ma'lumot, not given. Some kind of chemical refrigerant was found harmful. No. Atmosferaga zararliligi not given. Lekin mana bu qismi hammasi given, ha? The term refrigerator was firstly introduced. Yes. Some chemicals were added to refrigerate wine.
No, water.
Yes. Now. This is called distractor in IELTS, alright? Both in listening and reading. Listening da ham, reading da ham xuddi mana shunaqa holat uchraydi. Javob ikkita narsadek tuyuladi. Yoki true false not given da ham not given ham false deb tuyuladi. Bu yoqda уже bittagina so'z yoki bittagina virgul javobni hal qilib qo'yishi mumkin. Listening da ham, reading da ham. Endi nima qilamiz? Ikkita variantimizni o'qiymiz. Bittasida refrigerator, ya'ni muzlatgich termini yaratilgan bo'lishi kerak edi. Bittasida ximikatlar vinoni sovutishga ishlatilgan bo'lishi kerak. Endi 1550 ga chiqamiz. Refrigeratormi, refrigeratemi? Refrigerate, ha? Biz refrigeratorni hozircha tegmay turamiz. Endi ikkinchi variant tekshirib olaman. Qani rostdan ham vayni shu yilda sovutildimi yo'qmi? Okay? When this technique was first recorded, which technique? Adding chemicals, right? Tepadagi gapda endi, to'g'ri? Adding chemicals. Yo'qda ham adding chemicals midi?
No.
Yes. Was first recorded. People used it to cool wine mi yo'qda ham? Refrigerate wine mi? Refrigerate cool bilan sinonimmi? Bo'ldi mana shu javob. All right? 6 is A. Thomas Moore. Kim edi Thomas Moore? Fermer edi, to'g'ri? Nima qiluvdi u? Xaridingizni. The term refrigerator. Mana ana 5-savoli bor edi-ku. 5-savoli. Nechinchi yilda? 1803-yilda refrigerator degan terminni chiqargan odam mana shu. 1803 bormi? Sida bor, ha? Значит 5 javob bor ekan. To'g'ri javob. To'g'ri javob. C. All right. Bu distractor deyiladi. Turni o'zi ham birinchi paragraf ham ikkinchi paragrafda o'qigandek tuyuladi sizlarga. Yoki listeningda part 3 da, part 2 da ko'pincha, part 2, 3 da bor distractorlar faqat. Bitta javob, bitta savolning javobi xuddi ikkita option deb tuyuladi. Yoki multiple choice qilganda A ham B ham to'g'ri javob deb tuyuladi. O'sha narsa distractor deyiladi. Bitta so'z bilan mana shunaqa qilib ajratib olinadi ular, okay? Bitta qanaqadir point bilan. Thomas Moore patented the idea that refrigerating system can be installed on tram cars. Patent qilgan birovni? No. Invented an ice cutting technical method. Muzni kesadigan metod yaratdimi? No. Enabled the cold storage technology to be applied in fruit. Fruit keshatdimi birovni? No. Invented a cooling device applied into the trucking industry. That's cooling, okay? Or cooling, alright. Qanaqadir device yaratdimi? Qanaqadir device yaratdimi? No. Bu bir shart emas. Create a new technique to liquefy the air. Not given. So that's also not given for Thomas Moore, right? So far, Thomas Moore is not given in all of these options. Next. This exercise is considered as one of the most difficult exercises of reading, right? So for me, let's say personally, I think that matching sentence endings exercise is the most difficult in reading. Why? Because both parts are fully paraphrased here. If you don't have a dictionary, that's so difficult to do it, right? If you use your dictionary, each word has 3, 4, 5 meanings. You don't know which meaning to choose, right? So now let's read it and let's use the method of, let's say, finding the answer from the context without dictionary, and let's try. Healthy dietary change between 1830 and the American Civil War. American Civil War, not given. Healthy dietary, diet nima dedik? Healthy, unhealthy diet haqida gap? No, get. The development of, by the way, matching exercise in both reading and listening has a golden rule. The rule says, whenever you're given both lettered and numbered options come in order, lettered options come out of order. That's why I'm checking numbered options, alright? Secondly, there are more lettered options than numbered options. So it means one of them is not given. That's why I'm reading numbered options, not lettered, okay? The development of urbanization was likely to cause. Urbanization, problems due to water treatment contribute to. Waterni treat qilish, waterni nimadir qilish, waterni qanaqadir ishlatishdagi problemalar. No, right? The risk of the environmental devastation from the refrigeration led to. Environment haqidagi point, not given yet. All right. Can we do this one also together, or do you want to do independently now? All right, you're not sure. let's try to do it, all right, together. And then I'm going to give you a short exercise where you have to do it independently, all right? So, people's demand for ice soon became strong. Let's first highlight the words that are unfamiliar for us. Demand. Let's say we don't know it. Consumers soaring. Requirement for fresh food, especially for green vegetables, resulted in reform in people's dieting habits between 1830 and the American Civil War. Does it remind you anything? Accelerate by a drastic, expansion of the urban areas and the rapid amelioration. I'm sorry. In an economy of the populace, I think you know what is populace, right? Population, and the single form is populace. With the growth of the cities and towns, the distance between the consumer and the source of food was enlarged. I think you all know this word, right? That's a verb form of large. In 1799, as a commercial product, ice was first transported out of Canal Street in New York City to Charleston, South Carolina. Unfortunately, this transportation was not successful because when the ship reached the destination, little ice left. Frederick Tudor and Nathaniel Yeth, two New England's businessmen, grasped the great potential opportunities for ice business and managed to improve the storage method of ice in the process. Storage, shipment. The acknowledged ice king. That time, Tudor concentrated his effort on bringing the ice to the tropical areas. In order to achieve his goal and guarantee the ice to arrive at the destination safely, he tried many insulating materials in an experiment and successfully constructed the ice containers, which reduced the ice loss from 66% to less than 8% drastically. Yes, invented an economical and speedy method to cut the ice into uniform blocks, which had a tremendous positive influence on the ice industry. Also, he improved the processing techniques for storing, transporting, and distributing ice with less waste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 15 words. 15 unfamiliar words, right? That seems terrible. That seems very difficult to understand, and most students give up here. Most IELTS candidates think that they're not able to understand the general meaning of this paragraph because that has so many unfamiliar words, and they stop reading here. Or they start to grasp their dictionary and to search for all the words here. They cannot choose what meaning of a word is given here, so they lose concentration. They distract the whole process, all right? Dictionary translatorlarni yana bitta yomon tarafi, ingliz tilida har bitta so'z bir nechta meaninglarda keladi, to'g'rimi? U siraga qaysi meaning chiqarib berish kerakligini anglamaydi. That's why I always tell my students that your brains are more powerful than any dictionary, any online translator, right? That's more powerful than Google Translator. That's just AI, artificial intelligence. But yours is natural, right? So that's authentic intelligence. That's more powerful. That's why use your brain, all right? instead of dictionaries and translators. Muzni sovuq temperaturani yaratish usullari yaratildi, topildi, ishlatib boshlandi. Odamlarni ice'ga bo'lgan nimasidir tezda juda ham kuchlilashib ketdi. Nimasi? Talabi, ehtiyoji, xohishi, any of these words, all right? Baribir kontekst bir xil chiqadi. Consumers soaring requirement for fresh food, consumerlarning nimadir bo'layotgan talablari for fresh food, ya'ni sveji oziq-ovqatga, ayniqsa yashil sabzavot, ya'ni sveji sabzavotlarga bo'lgan iste'molchilarning qanaqadir talabi, qanaqa? Oshib borayotgan, juda ham kuchayib borayotgan degan so'z anglatadi, to'g'rimi? Growing deylik. Bo'ladimi? Growing requirement for fresh food, especially for green vegetables, resulted in nimalarga olib bordi? Odamlarni dieting habits. We learned the word diet, right? Dieting habits shunda nima aytadi? Ovqatlanish odatlari. Ovqatlanish odatlari 1830-yil va American Civil War orasida nima bo'lishiga olib keldi? Change. O'zgarishiga olib keldi. Va bu shahar hududlarini qanaqadir noun plus adjective plus noun nimadan kelib chiqqan noun? Expanddan kelib chiqqan, ya'ni verbdan kelib chiqqan noun. Ya'ni nimadir bo'lishi degan ma'noni aytadimi shunda? Shaharlarning nimadir bo'lishidan yana nimadir bo'ldi. Ya'ni bu talab shaharlarning nimadir bo'lib ketishidan effekt, o'zgardi, ta'sir ko'rsatildi, ta'sirlandi, yanada oshdi, tezlashdi degan ma'nolar kelib chiqadimi shunda? Accelerate ni o'zi to'g'ridan to'g'ri tarjima qiladigan bo'lsa, speed up degani, tezlashdi degani. Ya'ni bu talab, odamlarning talabi va odamlarning yeyish habitlarini o'zgarishi shahar hududlarining kengayishi, ko'payishi, kattalashishi, drastic, qanaqadir kattalashishi, to'g'rimi? Qanaqa kattalashishi? Kontekstdan kelib chiqadigan bo'lsak. Hamma narsa o'zgarib ketyapti, to'g'rimi? Tez o'zgarish degan ma'no beradi sizga. Tez o'zgarishdan bu ham tezlashib ketib qoldi. All right? And the rapid amelioration in an economy of the populace. I also don't know the word amelioration, all right? I have never faced this word. Men hozirgacha umuman ko'rmaganman shu so'zni. Va bu and bu, right? There's a typo. Va mana shaharlarni keskin kengayib ketishi, расширенияsi va tez ekonomik odamlarni ekonomikasini tez I don't know. Nimadir bo'lishi ham ta'sir ko'rsatibdi. To'g'rimi? Ya'ni ekonomikani tez ameliorate bo'lib ketishi yana o'sha changing habits ni o'zgartiribdi. All right? Значит, changing habits ni ikkita sababi nima ekan? Shaharlarni kattalashib ketishi и odamlarning ekonomikasida amelioration ni kuzatilganligi. Amelioration nima? Bilamiz. Qanaqadir bitta o'zgarish, qanaqadir bitta change, qanaqadir bitta development trend. Ekonomikada kuzatiladigan qanaqadir bitta holat. All right? With the growth of the cities and towns, mana tushuntirildimi keyin gapni? Shaharlar What's the difference between city and town? Yes. City and town are translated in the same way in your dictionaries. Ochida ikkilovdan shahar deb yozilgan. City usually means like large municipal area, all right, large urban area. But when it comes to the town, for example, Zangiota, that's also town, right? We have shaharku, to'g'ri? But that's a town, all right? Shaharcha, yes, shaharcharoq, small municipal. Cities and towns ko'tarilishi, ko'payishi bilan the distance, that's also a typo, right? The distance between the consumer and the source of food, iste'molchilar va ovqat keladigan joy bor, manbasi. O'sha orasidagi distansiya ham ko'tarishdi. Даже mana bilmagan odam oson topa oladi-da, to'g'ri? Shaharlarda odam ko'payib ketib qoldi. Shaharlar juda ko'p bo'lib ketdi endi. Qishloqdan source of food olib kelish bo'lsa, distansiya, qarash o'z bitta so'z bu. Distansiya uzoqlashdi, distansiya kattalashdi, distansiya ko'paydi. In 1799, as a commercial product, kommersiy produkt, ya'ni sotiladigan produkt sifatida birinchi marta ice was first transported out of Canal Street in New York City to Charleston. New Yorkdan birinchi marta Canal Streetdan muz sotuv uchun chiqarib yuborildi. To Charleston, South Carolina. Unfortunately, this transportation was not successful because when the ship reached the destination, little ice left. Frederick Tudor and Nathaniel Yes, two New England businessmen, grasped the great potential opportunities for ice business. Muz biznesini judayam yaxshi opportunitysi, shansini bu ikkita odam muz sotilib boshlangandan keyin muz biznesini zo'r shansini ko'rdi, qo'lga kiritdi, boshladi, oldi. Qisqasi, o'sha biznesini bular zo'r opportunitiesini oldi degan ma'no beradi. Okay? Grasp degani o'zi ushlab olmoq degani. All right? Tarjima qilasiz dictionaryda. Lekin ushlab oldi primoy qo'yilsa, tarjima direct meaning tarjima bermaydi hozir bu yo'lda. Kontekstdan, lekin hozir tushunib oldik, to'g'rimi? Shu zo'r shans chiqib qoldi, shu zo'r shansni bular olgan ikki kishi. And managed to improve the storage method of ice in the process of shipment. Ship meant kema so'zlik no. Yes. Gap nima haqida kelyapti ham yo'lda? Kontekst nima haqida? Nima muammo? Yetkazib berish, ha? Yetkazib berish, kemada yetkazib berish. Jarayonida ice'ni nimadir qilish metodini yaxshilashga muvaffaq bo'lishdi. Значит, ice'ni nima qilish metodi? Saqlash, olib borish, muzlatib olib borish, normal saqlab borish degan любой ma'no tushiradi.
Chunki little ice left.
Yes. Problema berildi. Bular zo'r ish qildi, dedi. Manager dedimi? Manager значит successful degan. Ya'ni men problemaga solution topgan bo'lishadi. Storage, to'liq yetkazib berish, saqlash, muzni saqlash degan ma'no berar ekan значит. The acknowledged ice king in that time, o'sha paytda ice king deb tanilgan, bilingan, tan olingan Tudor o'zini nimasinidir tropik arealarga ice'ni olib borishga nimadir qilgan. O'zini nuqtasini ice'ni tropik hududlarga olib borishga nimadir qilgan. E'tiborini shunga qaratgan. Aslida lekin primoy tarjima qilsa, effort sa'y harakati, ish harakati, concentrated e'tibor qaratmoq. To'g'ridan-to'g'ri tarjimasi ma'no yo'q. O'zini sa'y harakatini e'tibor qaratdi. Mana yemay qoladi. Kontekstdan lekin qarasa, sal majoziy ma'noda kelganligi bilinadi. O'zini butun sa'y harakatini shunga bergan. Tropical arealarga olib borishgan o'zini. All right? In order to achieve his goal and guarantee the ice to arrive at the destination safely to tropical areas, he tried some type of materials. Ko'pgina qanaqadir materiallarni ishlatgan. Muzni olib borish uchun qanaqa material ishlatish mumkin? O'sha sovun ushab turadigan material, bo'ldi. Sovun ushab turadigan qanaqadir materiallarni ishlatib ko'ribdi u. In an experiment and successfully constructed the ice containers. Ice ushab turuvchi konteynerlar yaratishga muvaffaq bo'lgan. Which reduce the ice loss from 66% to less than 8% at drastically keskin as an adverb, all right? Ravish sifatida. Ya'ni shunaqa konteyner yaratibdi-yu, keyin 66% erib ketmasdan 8% dan ham kamroq muzni yo'qotib olib borishga erishgan. Yes, invented an economical and speedy method to cut the ice into uniform blocks. Sherigi tuduridan bu hozirgi gapirgan. And yes, endi sherigi. Sherigi nima qilibdi? Uniform. What's a uniform? Dictionary ochamiz. Uniformni ko'ramiz. Google Translate'ga uniform blocksni yozamiz. Bitta qarasak, forma blok deb chiqadi. To'g'rimi? Uniformni qarasak forma deb chiqadi, blok deb chiqaveradi. Keyin tushunmay qolamiz. Yana ketdi, comprehension yo'qoladi. Uniform blocks degani bu adjective sifatida kelyaptimi hozir? Nounni oldin kelsa, demak adjective sifatida keladi. Uniformni o'zi ma'nosi forma, hamma bir xil kiyim kiygani degani. Значит, hozir blokni adjective qanaqa ekan? Bir xilmi? Bo'ldi. Bir xil bloklarga kesib, ice'ni olib borishni economical ham tejamkor ham tez usulini bu topdi sherigi. Which had a tremendous positive influence. Qanaqadir bu? O'zi o'zi ham bildirib turibdi adjectiveligini. Qanaqadir yaxshi ta'sir ko'rsatgan ice industriyasiga. Qanaqa yaxshi ta'sir? Katta yaxshi ta'sir, juda ham yaxshi ta'sir, misli ko'rilmagan yaxshi ta'sir, hammasi kirib ketaveradi. Farqi yo'q. Aniq tarjimasini topish hech kimga kerak emas hozir. All right? Also, he improved the processing techniques for storing, transporting and distributing ice with less waste. Kamroq rasxod bilan muzni saqlash, muzni yetkazib berish va muzni tarqatish usullarini ham yaxshilagan. All right? Did you understand the general meaning of this paragraph without a dictionary? Yes? Did you learn how we found the predicted meaning of each word with the context? Yes? Can you apply this in your own practices also? Are you sure? All right. All right. Now, let's check the exercise also, right? Just as a bonus. So, mana bu haqida savol bor edi. 1830-yil va American Civil War orasida nima bo'ldi? Mana bu yoqdan boshlaylik. Nima bo'ldi? Odamlarni muzga bo'lgan talab oshib ketdi. Ovqatlanish ham o'zgardi. O'shanga qarab uje bular sovutib, issiqda tez buzilib qolmaydigan narsalar, tez buzilib qoladigan narsalarni ham yeb boshlashdi demoqchi. Chunki uje muz bor-ku. And the question was here, I guess, right? Healthy dietary change. Fresh vegetables, green vegetables, you remember? Green vegetables dietary change between 1830 and the American Civil War was greatly associated with. Nima bilan bog'liq edi? Muzni chiqarilganligi, muzni yaratilganligi, o'sha muzni ishlata boshlaganligiga bog'liq edi. New developments such as the application of hydrofluorocarbons. No. Consumer demand for fresh food, especially for vegetables. Maybe. The discovery of chlorofluorocarbons. Chlorohydro, no, right? Freon. No. Regional transportation system for refrigeration for a long distance. Uzoq distance'ga ice'ni olib borish usuli bilan bog'lanmadi. No, u paragraf ikkinchi yarmida berilgan. Bu birinchi yarmida haqida to'g'ri? Not yet. Yes, but not yet. Given, but not in this point, all right? Extensive spread of the refrigeration method. Refrigeration methodni juda keng tarqalganligidan bog'liq edi. Sovutish usulini keng tarqalganligidan bog'liq edi. Maybe. So, distractor. You see? There is a distractor. Endi nima qilamiz? Xuddi boyaga o'xshab bitta chiqamiz u ikkaloviga tekshiramiz endi gapni. Bu bormi deb, okay? People's demand for ice soon became strong. Bor, birinchi variant to'g'ri. Consumers' soaring requirement for fresh food, especially for green vegetables, first option, resulted in reforming people's dieting habits between this time. Accelerated by an expansion. Mana bu spreadga sinonim, keng tarqalgani. Nimani keng tarqalgani? Shaharlar kengayib ko'payib ketyapti. Lekin refrigeration methodsni ko'payganiga haqida ma'lum bormi? No. That's why the right answer is the first option. All right? Ma'no jihatdan ikkalovi ham to'g'ri. Logikani ishlatsak hozir bizlar, ikkalovi ham to'g'ri. Lekin passage'ni ishlatsak not given true. All right? That's why please turn on both of them. Both the logic and the passage, all right? Don't please turn it off one of them. Well, urbanization, expansion of cities, increasing numbers of cities and urban areas and towns, right? Shaharlarni o'zi kengayishi, ko'payishi nimaga olib boradiganga o'xshadi? New developmentsga, mana hydrofluorocarbons yaratilishigami? Freonni yaratilishigami? Ikkita holda variant. Uzoq joylarga sovutish usullarini olib borishiga. Yes. Refrigeration metodini keng tarqalishiga. Yes. Just logically, both of them are right. Endi yana nima qilamiz? Passage'ni tekshiramiz endi yana. Passage'da nima deganini tekshiramiz. Chunki logika bir xil bo'lgani bilan va ertaga spor bo'lib qolsa, men exam paperni yaratgan bilan men bunaqa demagandim deb qolish mumkin, to'g'rimi? That's why let's see. With the growth of the cities and towns, urbanization, right? The distance between the consumer and the source of food was enlarged. Distance ham oshdi. Distance oshgandan keyin nima bo'ladi? Uzoqlashdi. Demak, muzni transport qilishga talab paydo bo'ldi va birinchi marta New Yorkdan muz chiqarib yuborildi. To'g'rimi? Почти hammasi erib ketdi. Regional transportation system for refrigeration for a long distance was needed. Yes. Was given, right? Refrigeration methodlarni tarqatish, ular hammaga o'rgatib chiqish refrigeration methodni. No, right? That's why the right answer is D. Okay? So, this exercise. Invented an ice cutting technical method that cut the ice into uniform blocks that was economical and speedy. Does it remind you anything? Yes? Yes. Nathaniel, yes, right? So that's the right answer. Patenting, not yet, right? Not given. Enabled the cold storage technology to be applied in fruits? No. Invented a cooling device applied into the trucking industry. Trucking industry. Logistikada ishlatish. Logistikada. Truck degani yuk mashinasi degani. Yuk mashinalari sanoatiga olib kirdimi biror kishini? No. Havoni suyuqlantirish? Not yet, right? Vehicles with refrigerator were used to transport on the road. Muzatkichli mashinalar. Raise your hand if you think yes. Raise your hand if it's not given yet. What about others? Again, biz o'qigan qaysidir yilda xolodilnikli mashinalar yaratildimi? Yes, chiqdi mana shu gap tekstda, biz o'qigan tekstda. Deganlar qo'lini ko'tarsin. Yo'q, hali chiqmadi deganlar qo'lini ko'tarsin. Hali chiqmadi. Ice'ni konteynerda olib borishyapti hali. To'g'rimi? Oxiri yana bu. Lekin, suzib yuribdi ham bo'lish, shipda hali bu. Lekin bizda xolodilnikli mashina haqida ma'lumot yo'q-ku. Right? But that's a distractor. That's a distractor. O'z shunaqa chalg'itish uchun yozilgan o'zi bu. Ice was sold around the United States for the first time. Around the United States. United States atrofida birinchi marta sotilib boshlandi. Yep. From New York to South Carolina, right? So that can be the right answer. Some kind of chemical refrigerant was found harmful to the atmosphere? No. The term refrigerator was first introduced. We already did it. Some chemicals were added to refrigerate wine. We already did it, right? So we're going to find out the year and we're going to choose it. All right? So any questions? Any questions? No? So can we now try to do a short exercise? Yes? It takes just very little time. Well, now choose any number from 85 to 1, like from 1 to 85. Choose any number.
77.
77, very good. And someone else there also said 7. That would meet the requirements of both of you, 7. All right, a chronicle of timekeeping. Choose from A to H. Any letter from A to H. C. You chose the largest one. All right, good. Everyone, you may use your papers, your copybooks, your phones also. Let's translate in any language you like, whether in Russian or Uzbek or any language you know. Let's write the translation of these several sentences. Okay? As I told you, you can just mark this word as this, all right? And that's coming before a noun and after an article, so it means that's an adjective, right? Qanaqadir kalendar deb yozib ketishga haqqingiz bor. All right? So let's go. You're given 5 minutes. 5 minutes to do written translation. You can do it on your phone also, or on your paper, or on your copybook, no problem. So time's up. Can we stop here? All right, thank you. I tried to read your translated versions, and I liked them. Yeah, generally, well done, good job. So, almost all people whose handwritten versions I checked were almost fully accurately translated. All right? And good. So, let's do it together now. Rim imperiyasidan bir necha asrlar oldin Misrliklar qanaqadir 12 ta 30 kunlik 12 ta oyi bo'lgan qanaqadir bitta kalendar yaratishgan. Unda yaratib bo'lishuvdi уже. Rimliklardan oldin. Unda har bir quyosh yiliga yoki har bir qanaqadir yilga 5 ta qo'shimcha kun yana qo'shilgan. Ya'ni margin of error 5 kun bo'lgan. Adash o'zgarib qolish margini intervali 5 kunga plus minus bo'lgan. Each period of 10 days was marked by the appearance of special groups of stars called decans. Har 10 kunlik period, har 10 kunlik o'sha muddatlar dekanlar deb atalgan. I don't know how decan is translated, right? Dekanlar deb atalgan gruppa звезд. Qanaqadir maxsus yulduzlar gruppasini ko'rinishi bilan belgilangan. Sirius degan yulduz chiqishi vaqtida, qaysi quyosh chiqishidan oldin ko'rinadi, which occurred around the all important annual flooding of the Nile. You know what's the Nile, right? Nil daryosida har yili bo'ladigan bitta verb, to'g'ri? Otlashgan verb. Toshqin ya'ni. Nil yoki Nilda bo'ladigan qanaqadir o'zgarish, qanaqadir bitta verb, okay? Har yili Nilda bo'ladigan nimanidir ko'rsatgan o'sha. Okay? Bilishgan mana shu paytda hozir toshib boshlaydi daryoda. 12 decans could be seen spanning the heavens. O'shani 12 ta group of stars o'sha osmonda aylanib boshlagan, alright? Qayerdadir aylanib boshlagan, osmonda aylanadi endi. Boshqa variant yo'q-ku, heavensga. The cosmic significance the Egyptians placed in the 12 decans led them to develop a system. Misrliklarga bu kosmik kerak bo'lgan o'sha yulduzlarni o'rganish kerak bo'lgan, to'g'rimi? Daryo qachon toshishini primerni bilish uchun. Ularni the cosmic significance placed into the decans led them to develop a system in which each interval of darkness ularni bitta sistema yaratishga o'qigan, undagan, ular sistema yaratishgan. Bu sistemada darkness, qorong'ulik intervallari bo'lgan, ya'ni kechni, tunni sanashgan, keyinchalik o'sha kunni ham sanab boshlashgan. Shunaqa intervallarni sanashgan, was divided into a dozen equal parts. Dozen, we don't know what's a dozen, right? Nechtadir teng qismlarga ajratib sanab chiqishgan. Bitta tun, ikkita tun, uchta tun, to'rtta tun, uchta kun deb, alright? But dozen actually means 12 ta. Alright? 12 decans. Here also 12 equal parts. Alright? Shundan ham to'p bo'lsa bo'lardi. Bilmasak ham nechtadir teng qismlarga ajratib bular sanashgan ekan tun bilan kunni. And that's it, right? You have to translate till this point. So, has your translation been very similar to the translation that we did right now? Yes? All right, good. So, that's it for now. And let me conclude. What are my concluding statements? If you have intermediate level of English, if your knowledge part, okay? Knowledge part is intermediate, please work on your reading skills. Reading skill u bilim emas u. U prosta strategiyalar, metodlar, qonun qoidalar, nimadir qilish kerakligi, nimadir qilish kerak emasligi, mana bunga o'xshagan metodlarni o'rganish reading skills. Nimadan rivojlanadi? Ko'proq o'qishdan rivojlanadi. In any language. Read in any language, all right? Bu faqatgina IELTS emas, butun umrga kerak bo'ladigan narsa bu. Reading skills oshirish. Strong intermediate bormi? Bemalol men 9 oy bilaman degan mission bilan reading skills o'rganish kerak. Ustozlaringizdan so'rab olinglar reading skillsni. All right? intermediate darajasidan sal pastroq bo'lsa, intermediate chala o'rgangan bo'lsangiz, oldin intermediate vocabulary'sini normaliy qilib olib, keyin reading skillsga o'tinglar. Okay? Shu narsa xayollaringizda tursin. Intermediate bo'lsa, strong intermediate bo'lsa, kimdir upper intermediate ni ham o'qigan bo'lsa, past chiqayotgan bo'lsa, men bilimsiz ekanim, men qila olmas ekanim reading degan даже do'li sekunda ham bunaqa fikr o'tmasin. Okay? Intermediate bormi, o'sha bo'ldi, 9 ishlab biladi degan o'quvchi. Nima yetishmayapti? Prosta ko'nikma yo'q, reading skills yo'q. Skill knowledge mass. Alright, skill knowledge mass. Masalan, communication skills to'g'rimi? Odamlar bilan kimdir yaxshi kelishib ketadi, kimdir yaxshi kelisha olmaydi. Kimdir uyaladi odamlardan, kimdir uyalmaydi. Tez kirishib ketib qoladi. Bu knowledge mass-ku, to'g'rimi? O'tirib o'rgatiladigan, o'qitiladigan. That's just a skill. Rivojlanadigan, o'z-o'zi rivojlanadigan skill. Nima qilish kerak? Odamlar orasida qo'shib ko'proq yurish kerak. Reading skills oshirish uchun ko'proq o'qish kerak. Ustozdan so'rab olish kerak. Tortib olaveringlar ustozdan skilllarni. Okay? O'zi shunaqa qadrli narsa hammaga ham berilavermaydi-ku. Borib so'rab olaveringlar ustozdan. Okay? Reading skillsni. Knowledge partni u sizlarning bo'yinlaringizdagi responsibility. That's on your shoulder, right? Learn words. Try to learn a specific set of academic vocabulary also that helps you in the process, all right? Please make sure that you have already strong intermediate level in order to guarantee a high score from both listening and reading, all right? So, don't you have any questions to me? Любой passage yaxshi bo'ladi. Yes. Okay, yaxshi savol bo'ldi. Bu o'zi misperception bu ham o'zi aslida readingni qiyinchilik darajasi listeningga o'xshamaydi. Masalan, listeningda aniq bilamiz, 1 bilan 4 osonroq bo'ladi, 2 bilan 3 qiyinroq bo'ladi. 3 eng qiyini bo'ladi. Nimaga? So'zlar ham akademik, audio ham akademik, discussion, distractorlar bor, qiyin. Section 2 oddiy so'z bo'lgani bilan exercise qiyin. Distractorlar ko'p, qiyin. Section 1 oson, nimaga? So'zi ham oson, exercise ham oson. To'g'ri? Section 4 oson, nimaga? Distractor yo'q. Exercise juda ham oson, lekin speech'i, audiosi faqat akademik. Readingda ikkiga bo'linadi difficulty level. Passage'larni difficulty level bor, exercise'larni difficulty level bor. Exercise'ni difficulty levelga kelsa, passage 1 oson, passage 2 medium, passage 3 qiyin. Lekin passage'ni o'ziga kelsa, textni o'ziga kelsa, uchalovi randomly chosen. Hammaga har xil tuyuladi. Text haqida gapiramiz, exercise yo'q deb o'ylayapmiz. Faqat tekstni o'zini ajratib olganmiz deylik. 3 ta tekstni ajratib oldik. Birinchi tekst kimgadir juda ham qiyin tuyulishi mumkin, chunki education haqida. U menga osonroq tuyulishi mumkin, chunki men education ichida yuribman. Ikkinchisi IT menga juda ham qiyin tuyulishi mumkin. IT ichida yurgan odam uchun oson tuyuladi. Passage 3 ni teksti qiyin degan gap yo'q IELTS da. Passage uchun exercise qiyin degan gap bor. Bu degani passage'ni любойga usul xulasa bo'ladi. Va yana faqat IELTS ga emas, IELTSmi, TOEFLmi, SAFRmi, SATmi, любойda ishlatsa bo'ladi. Bu mana bu metodni. Даже hayotda oddiy veb-saytdan bitta yangilikni o'qinglar. So'zni tushunib ketasiz, bitta ikkita so'z tushunmay qoldingiz, uni ham shu usul bilan topib ketsa bo'ladi kontekstdan nima tarjima bermoqchi ekanligini. Alright? Bu skill. Ya'ni любой reading ga alohida любой narsaga ishlatib ketaversa bo'laveradi. Qanaqadir kitob o'qiysan ham farqi yo'q. Boshqa til o'rganganda ham mana bu skill yordam beradi. Okay? O'zi aslida kitob o'qish kerak. Nimaga? Reading skills oshirish uchun. Lekin kimdir yo'q, men vaqtim kam, intensive, 3 oyda bo'ldi, men olib ketishim kerak IELTSni, 2 oyda bo'ldi olishim kerak desa, kitob o'qish vaqtingizni olib qo'yadi. Lutchi o'qituvchidan reading skillsni olib, talab qilib olish kerak o'qituvchidan. O'rgating deb hamma metodlarni. O'qituvchidan reading skillsni olib, o'shani reading practice materials bilan o'shani o'ziga yetadi. O'sha materiallardan foydalanib yursa bo'ladi. Lekin kimdir долгосрочныйroq angliyskini o'rganmoqchi bo'lsa, ularga o'sha kitob o'qishni juda ham maslahat berardim. Lekin kimdir intensiv o'qiyotgan bo'lsa, vaqti yo'q bo'lmasa, kitob o'qish shart emas, o'sha reading passage o'ziga yetib ortadi. Lekin kimdir yo'q, men o'zim hayotimda kerak angliyski, Men planlarim kattaroq, 8.5 9 ball olmoqchiman deydigan bo'lsa, kitob o'qish juda ham yaxshi foyda beradi. Kitob o'qish zarar bermaydi, hech qachon shunaqa narsa kitob. Bekzod? Any other questions? You have a question? No? All right. So if you don't have questions, let's finish this session here, all right? If you have some personal questions, we may discuss them outside, all right? So, how effective was this session for you? Was it useful? Yes. Yes? So we try to organize such events as much as we can, all right? But we don't promise. Yaqin kunlarda bularning hammasini qisqa videolar qilib chiqarishni hozir plan qilyapmiz. Xudo xolasa shu haftadan boshlanadi. Ular qanaqa mana shunaqa qisqagina qanaqadir ko'pchilik studentlarga aytilmaydigan gaplar bo'ladi. IELTSmi, chisto o'sha IELTSni o'zidan ko'pchilik prosta ignore qilib ketadigan, protsesga qo'shilmaydigan narsalarni biz endi xudo xolasa video qilib chiqarmoqchimiz. Juma kuni xudo xolasa birinchi videomiz chiqadi. U grammatikadan bo'ladi. U hamma uchun problem bo'lgan present perfect past simple zamonlarini video qildik. Real life situationda. Masalan, hayotda darsim tugadi. Present perfect ishidami, past simpledami? Past simple. Present perfect. Past simple once again. Past simple. Ikkalovi ham bo'ladi. Ikkalovi ham bo'ladi. Lekin ikkalovi ikki xil ma'no beradi. Present perfect hozirgi darsim tugadi. Darsga ketyapman deb aldab chiqqan bo'lsam, past simple ni aytsam, past simple my lesson finished desam aldamagan bo'laman. Chunki u 2 yil oldingi dars haqida gapirayotgan bo'lishi mumkin. 2 hafta oldingi dars haqida gapirayotgan bo'lishi mumkin. Uyga vazifangni qildingmi deb so'rasa kimdir? Ha, qildim, uyga vazifam desam, present perfect bilan gapirsam, hozir uyga vazifa bo'lish shart qo'limda. Ha, qildim deb past simple bilan aytsam, 2 hafta oldingi uyga vazifam gapirayotgan bo'lishi mumkin. Ha, qildim. 2 hafta oldin qildim uyga vazifam degan ma'noni ham beradi, right? So, mana shunaqa qilib birinchi shundan boshladik. Eng problematik mavzudan real life situationda ko'rsatib, xudo xolasa juma kuni chiqadi birinchi video. Aktiv ko'rsasizlar degan umiddamiz. Yana nimadir muammolar bo'lsa, уже Instagramda qoldirasizlarmi? O'shanga qarab keyin biz yana video olib ketaverdik.
Если английский, то только в Thompson.